Hey, what's up my fellow YouTubers? Grant, otherwise known as Mr. Octopi here, and I'm bringing you another YouTube video here, another Black Ops commentary. So this one specifically is not going to be about the gameplay this time. I'm going to be narrowing getting out of that, mainly just because I'm getting some good games, but I mean at this point I don't really have a ton of games that are worth talking about too much. I mean I'm not really as good as explaining myself and how I do it. I still don't know how I do it, but I think after this commentary I'm going to play some Black Ops 2, because I haven't played some in a while. Once I do this and upload it and render and that kind of stuff, everything for tomorrow is done, and really all that kind of good stuff is good. And yeah, so nothing really else to do other than English homework. But as I was saying, I have a different topic to talk about today. So getting on topic here, really, if you can see that up in the topic, something kind of sparked this in my interest, in my wanting to be able to talk about this, wanting to put up in the commentary. It's the idea of thinking logically versus thinking emotionally. And these are pretty big deals, you know, like really, there are multiple ways to narrow down people's personalities. But I mean, one big one is obviously like a logical person, an emotional person. Because you know, when you get the logical person, they're mostly in the science fields, they're mostly in the mathematical fields, and you're getting all that kind of stuff. And then the emotional people are usually in, like, you know, the arts, entertainment, that kind of stuff. Not emotional as in, like, you know, you tell them that they're fat or something, they break down crying and, you know, they can't. No, just the idea of, like, working more from, I don't know the idea of it, it's more of like a romantic kind of viewpoint on life. You know, from the romanticism and all that kind of stuff. Sort of based around the emotions and nature and all that kind of stuff. Whereas logical is more, what kind of, the enlightenmentist thinking, I don't know, something like that. But you get my drift. So I wanted to talk about the difference, and I see it. I mean, even most emotional people, from what I've found, they don't really like to think logically. They don't really like to do that. And they usually don't, because it's kind of like, well, I mean, I can just try to kind of trust my gut, I can trust my instinct, you know, just go, the first thing that comes to my head, I'm going to go do that because it's most likely right. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. Everybody has different view styles, but usually from what I've seen, the emotional people that think emotionally don't like to lean as much towards the logical side of things. Like, obviously, you're going to think logically, you're not just going to do all just on instinct, because that usually results in bad things, and like jumping off of cliffs and stuff without a parachute, or bad things like that, because it's cool. But mostly, they just stand the emotional side of things. But what I've really noticed with logical thinkers is that even though they like say they think logically, and they do think logically, and they're more logical people, and they sort things out in their heads before they do things kind of deal, whenever it comes to like making decisions and doing things, the whole human nature kind of takes over. So even it's like, oh, I'm a logical person, you know, I think logically, I do all this kind of stuff. Whenever it actually comes down to things sometimes, they lean way over to the emotional side, and they just completely forget about the logical person. So that's basically just taking, like, it's an incontrollable thing where basically, you know, human emotion takes over, and at this point in time, you know, maybe, like, that'll be weeded out or something, and everybody will be logical. Like, I forget an example of that, but like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I don't know, those bureaucratic guys, like they have no emotion or whatever. Maybe that'll happen to the human race, who knows? But at this point, that thing is still there, and at certain point in times actually comes out and it completely goes over the logical people's mentality, and they don't even like realize it's happening really, just because that's what they're doing, like that's what they do, right? I mean, they're humans, that's what happens, and they don't even see it. And I see this happening a lot, in that, you know, emotional people don't drift over, but logical people at times drift over way, way far than they either like to admit, or they realize, or anything like that. And it's kind of weird. I try to make myself do that as little as possible, and I'd like to think I do that very little, but I probably do it sometimes, because I always have instances where it's like, you know, I could do this, and I'm thinking about it right now. It's a yes or no kind of thing, and I know inside of me I should do it, but I can really feel the reason I'm picking this answer, or want to pick this answer, is because the emotional side of me doesn't feel like doesn't want to do it. and I'm basing this off of emotion, even though I really want to do it. I try my best to always, like, you always look at that, and it's like, okay, so I know this is the logical thing to do, and it's going to take a little bit to get past this emotional thing. And I try to do that, but whenever you have to make, like, split-second decisions, sometimes that comes up, you don't even have time to think about it, you just do it. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I lean towards it's bad, but, you know, it's all cool. And you definitely see that come out in people. There's no right and wrong way to do it, but for some reason I've just been noticing that. And it's kind of weird because this sparked up something from, you know, the company Newegg. They're pretty cool if you buy computer parts or you do any of that kind of stuff. They're one of the best companies out there. There's also like Tiger Direct. You can get some stuff from Best Buy. I'm sure you can get some stuff from Amazon, a lot of stuff from Amazon. But Newegg is like one of the bigger places out there. They're spread like throughout the US. If you're a European or something, I don't know if they do anything over there. But it's sort of like the NCIX of the USA or Canada, or like if you know what NCIX is. I mean, they're like a big realtor up there, and Newegg is the big stuff down here based in California. They have places everywhere. So I get all my computer stuff from Newegg. And they always have great prices from what I've seen, and you know, great customer support, or everything really, great products, no real bad things on their end. But whenever, like a year ago, the computer I'm recording on right now, it's sort of like a half gaming, half server rendering and like editing and video editing and all that kind of stuff computer. So I got all that stuff from Newegg like a year ago, and I got their preferred account, which is handled through the Chase Bank. I think it's Chase. I'm pretty sure it's Chase. And it's basically just, instead of giving money to Newegg, you give a bunch of money to Chase, and Chase gives Newegg a bunch of money, and you pay Chase back at a monthly fee. And, you know, you can get, like, if it's over $1,000 or something, you have no interest in 12 months or something, and that kind of deal. So it's just, like, basically loaning money to you, and the bank handles it, and then they pay Newegg. So, at the very end of it, my dad always pays checks and stuff, which I guess it's just kind of like, because people who still pay checks, because people have done it so, like, they're so used to it, it's hard for them to break off and be like, you know what, I'm gonna stop doing that and just do it online. Because I can't really think of any reasons not to do it online, but I guess it's just because they're so used to it, it's just like a habit thing. So, he still pays most of his, or not most of it, but I mean some of his stuff with checks. And this is one of the things he does it with. And I guess he mailed in a check last month or something, and the account said they got it, I think. I forget how it turned out, but somehow the check didn't go through and he thought it was or something, and then they gave him a $25 fee or the $30 fee or however much it was because the check didn't go through, or I don't know the semantics of it, but something like that. And then, you know, he called up them and he got it, and then he got that information. And then he reacted in the way of, like, you know what, I closed the account, and then we're not dealing with this company anymore. So you can really, like, my dad's a logical person, but you can tell that this is definitely the emotional side coming off of my dad and just people in general. Because think about it, you're talking on there, you're getting heated up, like, if you have that kind of, he's that personality that, you know, gets really heated up over things, and, you know, even if, like, no matter what, if you're having an argument, then they're just going to get super heated up over it, and that's completely fine. I get that way sometimes too, but he takes everything really seriously, sort of. So whenever he was calling him up and getting this kind of stuff, he was like, oh, this sucks, this is really stupid, and, you know, I don't know what, and then he closed it, and I guess he got mad. That's the emotional side coming out, because even though he's a logical person, in a split second, the human part of him took over, and, you know, there was no as much of a filter or anything going on there, and he just said, alright, I don't want to deal with this, and I'm doing this. Which normally, you know, if you had a day to think about it or something, it'd probably go down differently. So you can tell definitely the differences between the emotional reactions and the logical reactions. Both work, however, some work better, some work worse, some work in just different ways. So that's what happened, and that's what I noticed, and if he doesn't want to deal with it anymore, I'll just buy stuff from him and make my own bank account or something like that. But I don't know how that'll work out, but I'm definitely going to keep on buying from Newegg. But that's just what sparked this topic in the idea of logical versus emotional personalities and thinking. And let me know what you guys think. You logical? You emotional? That kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm definitely a logical guy, and I try to keep the emotion away as much as possible. So, hope you enjoyed the commentary, guys. Grant, otherwise known as Substructify, or comment, subscribe if you feel like it. Signing out.